If every single UFC champion fought at the same weight and size for one night, who would win? Today we're going to discuss that on this UFC bracket we've got over here. Ranging first all the way from flyweight all the way to heavyweight, we've got each champion in ranking from 1 through 8 based on the current UFC pound for pound rankings. So, first playoff range, we've got Ilia Topuria versus Magomed Ankalaev. Round number 2, we've got Merab Dvalishvili versus Jack Della Maddalena. Then we got Dricus Du Plessis versus Tom Aspinall. And then we've got Alejandro Pantoja versus Alexander the Great Volkanovski. So, each time we're going to start off, we got the playoff rounds right here. Each fighter that wins these is going to go to the semifinals. Then obviously we're going to have the finals. Then we're going to find out which UFC champion would reign supreme over every other champion. So, starting first, Ilia Topuria versus Magomed Ankalaev. So, if you know anything about me, you already know who I'm picking. Ilia Topuria would sleep Magomed Ankalaev. If we're going to look at the past 2 fights, Ilia Topuria, last fight, Charles Oliveira. Great takedown defense, great grappling, great striking. Knocked him out in a few minutes. That was it. Magomed Ankalaev had, one good stand-up moment against Alex Pereira in round number 2 where he rocked him going for the takedown. Other than that, he held him against the fence, doing absolutely nothing. I think if you were to switch shoes, if you had a Charles Oliveira at light heavyweight versus Magomed Ankalaev, I'm taking the Charles Oliveira any day. Skill for skill, he's taking it. Ilia Topuria, obviously with a little bit lower weight classes, you're going to be like, skill's obviously going to be a little bit better. But we're going to try to take that away, obviously speed and things along those lines, and just look directly at skill. But I think matching these two up, Ilia Topuria wins every single day of the week. Magomed Ankalaev is going to try to take him down. He's going to hold him against the fence. That's his biggest thing. Magomed's striking's not even in the same ballpark as Ilia Topuria. The main thing that's going to happen here, Magomed's going to push him against the fence. Ilia's going to get off the fence. The only time we've seen Ilia on the fence was against Charles. Charles went for the trip, got reversed. Ilia landed in full guard and then got all the way into side control. Don't think Magomed's ever going to get in that position where he could get him down. If I'm being honest, it would probably be a round 2 KO for Ilia Topuria. First round, Magomed gets the fence. Ilia back off, gets him it, rips some body shots against the cage. Also, just don't think Magomed's striking defense is that insane. If you watch the Jan Blachowicz fight, you can see holes there. It was a split decision, or split draw, I want to say, against Jan Blachowicz. With that being said, I think Ilia Topuria would smoke him in round 2 with body shots and the headshot, moving Ilia Topuria to the semifinals. Then, we've got Merab Dvalishvili versus Jack Della Maddalena. This one's a little bit more tricky. The big thing here, if you look at their last fights, Merab, Sean O'Malley, Jack is, what's his name? Yeah, I don't know. If you look at those last fights, both of them had really good fights. Merab's was a more standout performance of dominance, strictly because the Merab fight was the second fight with Sean O'Malley. First fight was closer. There's the whole dumb argument that Sean O'Malley won the first fight. Whoever came up with that take, please quit watching the sport. But Merab came back and showed 100% that he's levels above. Submitted Sean. Sean didn't really have anything in that fight whatsoever. It was kind of just Merab dominance. Jack, though, had a close fight in his last one. However, before that, Bilal Muhammad looked really good against, Leon Edwards, everyone along those lines. I can't even remember Bilal's last opponents. But yeah, Bilal looked really good in his previous fights before that. But Jack nullified the takedown. Bilal also didn't start really going for the takedown until later in the fight, and Jack had already established his takedown defense from there. But with that being said, they both kind of, if you look at it, their last matchup are in a way similar to their current fight that they've got, Merab versus Jack right here. With that being said, though, I think Merab's pressure it's just too much. The CEO of EPO right here. Merab doesn't get tired. Jack obviously looked good in his last fight. I just think skill for skill. Obviously, Jack's going to have better stand-up. Merab's going to have better takedowns, better grappling. I just don't think at any point Jack could have that cardio. Maybe Jack proves me wrong, goes out there against Islam Makhachev, beats him. That's a different story here that we're looking at. I might be picking Jack Della Maddalena to beat Merab. But at this point in their careers, Merab's too good. I just think the constant pressure and takedown is just going to overwhelm Jack. Obviously, with that being said, I'm going to go with a 48-47 unanimous decision for Merab. I think it's close in rounds. I think definitely Merab's going to win the first 2 rounds, I would say. Jack's going to pick up that 3rd round, kind of get his takedown defense established. Also think Jack's going to win the 4th round. He's going to kind of push through, kind of got dominated the first 2 rounds, and then I think cardio of Merab's just going to take over in the 5th, get the takedown early, and then just end the round on top. I think that's the biggest thing there. So semifinals now, we've got Ilia Topuria versus Merab next. But going back to the playoff rounds, Dricus Du Plessis versus Tom Aspinall. If you know anything about Dricus Du Plessis, it's that this man cannot lose. However, with that being said, what's going to happen is Tom Aspinall is going to go out there, nullify his game, and KO him in the first round. Until Herb Dean, opens it up, dude. Opens. Guess who's there? Dricus Du Plessis is coming out of Herb Dean like a skin suit, like the monkey from SpongeBob. Dricus Du Plessis is going to look up, cut a rope, anvil, falls through, hits Tom Aspinall. Doesn't affect Tom Aspinall, though. Doesn't affect the Brit. With that being said, though, realistically in this fight, I do think skill for skill. So Dricus Du Plessis, last fight with Sean Strickland, looked really good there. With that being said, Sean Strickland, jab deep, jab deep, jab deep, jab deep, deep jab. That's it. Tom Aspinall last fight. Who was Tom Aspinall's last fight? It's been so long. Was it Sergey? It was. That's how long. John Jones. Thanks for holding up the division for 2 years. Ridiculous. With that being said, though, these two against each other, I am going to go with Tom Aspinall. I think Tom Aspinall would go out there and sleep Dricus Du Plessis early. I think just the power. Obviously, we've got to look at it, the situation. Can't necessarily go, Tom's going to be bigger, da-da-da. You can't go off that just because we are at the same weight for one night. But looking against their opponents, Tom Aspinall has the touch of death. Dricus Du Plessis doesn't. Dricus Du Plessis is a little bit more wild. Big grit, things along those lines. But when's the last time we saw Dricus Du Plessis against a one-shot quitter opponent? We haven't. Tom Aspinall goes out there and has starched everyone. Good jiu-jitsu too. We haven't seen a lot of that. That's the issue. Andrei Arlovsky got submitted as soon as he got taken down in the 2nd round against Tom. But we haven't seen Dricus Du Plessis in his career fight a one-punch knockout artist like Tom Aspinall. With that being said, though, Tom Aspinall, early finish. The main thing there with that fight, though, Dricus Du Plessis is going to strike, look for the takedown, kind of mix it up like he does. Kind of just goes as the fight. I think that's why Dricus Du Plessis is so good right now. It's whenever he fights Israel, Israel wants the fight standing the whole time. Sean Strickland wants the fight standing the whole time. Dricus Du Plessis kind of just takes. He's going to throw a looping punch and then throw a spinning back fist into it. It's going to rock you. And then, oh, you know what? You're a little bit rocked. Oh, we're going to shoot. We're going to keep shooting. Then next thing you know, takedown. That's kind of Dricus Du Plessis. He kind of just takes what's given to him. Tom Aspinall goes out there and takes. That's the main thing. Pause. Tom Aspinall goes out there and has his game plan, sticks to it, and that's kind of it. We haven't seen any adversity out of Tom Aspinall other than the Andrei Arlovsky fight, and even then, that wasn't anything to worry about. I do think just Tom nullifies his game. Tom Aspinall is going to go out there, slip, 1-2 down the pipe, That's what I'm going to go with. Tom Aspinall, number 6 seed, upset over the number 3rd seed. Next round, Alejandro Pantoja versus Alexander the Great Volkanovski. So, at this point, this one's going to be closer. If you look at it, it's number 4 versus number 5 here in the pound for pound rankings. So, Alejandro Pantoja, main approach here is going to be, he mixes it up, obviously wants to take down a little bit more than anything. He's all right standing up, super well balanced. I just like the main thing with each of his opponents, he's a little bit better. So say he has an opponent that's a really good striker, he's going to take them down. If he's got an opponent that's good at grappling, his stand-up's good enough to just nullify the grappling and stay with the stand-up. However, you're fighting a generational talent at featherweight and Alex Volkanovski that is arguably the best featherweight ever. Obviously Ilia knocked him out, but that doesn't make him the best from there. Ilia might go down as the best fighter of all time, not the best featherweight. That title belongs to Alexander the Great Volkanovski. With that being said though, Volkanovski's main thing here, good takedown defense, good striking. The main thing there, I do think Volkanovski can nullify Pantoja's grappling. And with that being said, if you have both of these guys standing up, I'm going to take Volkanovski any day over Pantoja. Pantoja's gritty, things along those lines. I don't think Volkanovski could finish him just because Pantoja's got a hell of a chin on him. With that being said, I'm going to go with, decision. But I'm going to go with a 49-46 decision. Pantoja gets around in between. I just think Volkanovski, almost maybe like the Diego Lopez fight. Pantoja gets him down for a round, gets the bag, maybe like the Islam fight. If you look at that fight, skill for skill, I don't think Pantoja is on the skill level of Islam Makhachev. Prime for prime, Volkanovski and Islam, head to head. Great fight, close fight. Arguably, Volkanovski won. All right, moving on to the semifinals. Ilia Topuria versus the other Georgian, Merab Dvalishvili. This one, short and simple. Ilia Topuria is going to KO Merab in this fight. Merab's biggest thing is the takedown here. Like I just glazed Ilia Topuria earlier for the Magomed fight. I don't see him getting taken down. We've seen him taken down one time by Bryce Mitchell. I want to say that was it that I can recall off the top of my head. And then a few seconds later, he finishes him. He rocks him and then submits him. The big thing here is going to be Merab's cardio. I don't think Merab's going to get the point to implement his cardio. If you've looked at every single Merab fight, just like the Marlon Moraes fight, he's here. He gets hit. I want to say it's a left hook every single time. That's what I thought O'Malley was going to hit him with in the first and second fight, waiting for it. Never got it. Marlon Moraes could hit it, but Henry Cejudo could hit it too. Sean O'Malley couldn't. I guess it's more of a height thing too. Ilia Topuria is going to be more at that base level with Merab than Sean. Sean's going to stand really tall. His big thing is going to be almost like a Sean Strickland, with jabs and teeps, instead of the other one, the bigger Sean. Strickland's just going to not really go for it. O'Malley's going to go for it more. With that being said, though, Ilia was going to sleep him in this fight. Would be 100% confident it would be an early rounds finish, just because I don't think Merab's cardio's never going to get off. He's not going to make it out of those later rounds. And like I said, if Marlon Moraes can catch you, if Henry Cejudo can catch you, the best boxer in the game right now is going to catch you early. First round finish, Ilia Topuria. Moving on, Tom Aspinall versus Volkanovski. So, if this was 2 years ago, I would choose Volkanovski in a heartbeat. However, I think Volkanovski, skill for skill, is arguably better. I don't think his chin can hold up. I think that's the main issue. I think if this was Volkanovski with his peak chin a few years ago before the Islam KO versus the Ilia KO, I would choose Volkanovski. He would outskill him. I'm sure on the feet, big calf kicks, big jabs, doing Volkanovski stuff. However, at this point, I think Tom Aspinall would play. He's just such a pressure fighter. He's in your face constantly. He's going to be right there. And I think at that point, if you do take his power, since it is such strong power, he would sleep Volkanovski. It's almost like if Diego Lopez could stick to a little bit better of a game plan, fire better straight shots down. We saw what happened when Diego Lopez caught him once. He only caught him once. We saw what happened. Volkanovski got dropped. I think with Tom being there and playing such a large presence in front of him and pushing forward, kind of there, I do think he's going to catch him with a 1-2 at the end of it. Volkanovski's biggest tendency that's really bad is he backs up straight with his chin up in the air. I think if you have a big pressure fighter like Tom in there, whenever he gets there, so Volkanovski, you know how he does, he throws his little low kick and he throws his switch body kick. I think if Tom could go in at that switch body kick, Volkanovski's chin's up in the air, kicks here, just boom. I think he's going to sleep Alexander Volkanovski. With that being said, Tom Aspinall is going to beat Volkanovski. Number 6 upsets number 5. So, I think, though, Tom Aspinall, I'm going to say it's going to be an early rounds finish. Not sure where. First 2 rounds for sure. But now, on to the finals. Don't know if this is what y'all expected or not. But I'm an Ilia Topuria Glazer. Also love the Brit, Tom Aspinall. I think these are the 2 biggest finishers in the UFC right now. And it might be why they're the best right now. It's just finishing potential is so high compared to everyone else. So, looking at the 2 styles, it's going to be pretty similar. Ilia Topuria, pressure on the big foot, on the main foot, on the forward foot. Also good on the back foot too. Really good wrestling, really good jiu-jitsu. Tom Aspinall here, really good striking. We haven't seen much of the ground game. I think that's what's going to make the difference here. I think these 2 at the same weight class, it's going to be a head-on collision. I just think the grappling advantage is going to go to Ilia. We've seen more of the grappling. We haven't seen enough out of Tom. We've seen a few good submissions, a few good takedowns, but Ilia Topuria, we've seen a little bit more against these people. Obviously, in the Volkanovski fight, the Max Holloway fight, all we saw was stand-up. That was the main thing there. And that's pretty much all we've seen, too, in Tom Aspinall fights. But I think when these 2 clash, pound for pound, skill, fight IQ, Tom keeps his chin up a little bit more than Ilia. Ilia did get caught with that big elbow in the Charles fight. Didn't rock him, though. But if you look at it, Tom does keep his chin up high in the air, too. Which is going to be, with me, going with the winner and the best pound-for-pound fighter right now, Ilia Topuria. I think the clash would happen early. Ilia's going to succeed in the clash. If he doesn't sleep Tom there, I think if he rocks him, he's going to go to the ground and finish there. I think when they trade, obviously, I think Ilia's chin's going to be a little bit better. We haven't seen Tom rock before. Haven't really seen Ilia rock before either. But like I said, just that tendency of keeping your chin up in the air a little bit from Tom, I think Ilia is going to find that mark and finish you. So I'm going to say it's going to be a first round car collision knockout, Ilia Topuria. I don't know if you guys agree with me or not. Please let me know in the comments. I'd be more than glad to argue with any of you that Ilia Topuria is the best UFC fighter right now. Honorable mention, Islam Makhachev. You know, he's right up there. However, he's not a champion right now. Whenever I was thinking about this, I was like, man, who am I forgetting in the pound-for-pound rankings? It's Islam. Islam might go out there and beat Jack, and we might have a whole different list over here. But at this point in time, Ilia Topuria is the best UFC champion we've got right now. It's the finishing potential. We haven't seen it from anybody else. Also, the boxing is so much crisper than everyone else. The way he finished Charles was beautiful. Charles steps in, hands are a little bit down. Joe Rogan's over here like, Charles Oliveira, he's eating these punches. Finish. Joe, don't say that. You jinxed him. You got the man killed. With that being said, though, Ilia Topuria, best UFC champion right now. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like, subscribe. I'll be live this weekend for the Delizzi versus Hernandez fight card. Then after that, we got UFC 319 coming up. I'll post my predictions coming up soon. We'll be live for that one too. So, thank you guys for watching. If you got any questions, please argue with me in the comments. And I'll see you guys next time.